Okay guys, got quite a bit more done. I was kind of just in the zone, so I didn't really record a whole lot, but I did have some wires over here coming from the computer that were a little bit short. The tachometer wire I had coming through the harness and then back over to this side, because my original plan before I put the harness in was to run the wires inside the firewall over to the dash, but I decided it was easier to just run the tach wire back through to the other side, and then actually took these wires here, the check engine light wire and the OBD2 sensor serial data wire, extended them right here, so soldered these on, extended the wires back out through the harness over to the other side, because when I originally did the wiring for the harness on the bench, I didn't know that those wires were actually going to be in this plug right here, so I'd just be able to connect them and hook them up here and then go right to the inside of the truck. So that worked out pretty slick. So pretty much this is mostly done. I have it all hooked up on the bottom underneath there, just to get an idea. This will be kind of down out of the way, but just to get an idea, this is all you'll see basically is just a loom of wire going underneath right to the fuse box. So this I'll probably trim this off, or I might just tape it up and keep it down here in case I ever need to change anything or need any more of those wires out of there. But other than that, it's pretty clean, I think. It'll look a lot better when it has the loom on it. But the only wire that I have left right now that I'm working on is this purple wire, and this is for the, it says TCC brake, so this is for the torque converter lockup from the brake switch. So I'm basically going to go through now and do some probing and try to figure out what source or relay that I can use to hook the brake switch up to. Basically what this is looking for, a positive signal all the time as a signal from the computer, except for when you apply the brake, and then it releases the torque converter lockup. So that's what I'm going to work on now. Alright, so here's what it's looking like now. Got the fuse box, everything all buttoned up, got the wires cleaned up, and I just threw a piece of big loom over it right now to kind of get an idea what it's going to look like. I do want to go back a little bit farther because there's still some wires kind of exposed back there, but this is a rough idea of what it's going to look like. So basically all of the wires are completely cleaned up. I did just put this plug down here, but everything's all cleaned and loomed up there. So I do have still have to do like the alternator cable. It's really long and it comes all the way down there. So I'm going to shorten that so it just basically comes right from here to here. Oh, I still got to do that yet. Everything else is pretty much good to go. So I'm going to set the camera on a tripod. I do got to throw the fuses in there. So I'm going to try to do that one clip and kind of show if everything is hooked up right or not. I'll put the fuses in and then try to start it and see what happens. Alright, here we go. I got 5 fuses here. I have 5 fuses in the fuse block on the bottom. So I'm going to pop this off and try to do this in real time. So the wires are, it's a little bit tighter because I have all the wires hooked up now, and I kind of want to be careful that I'm not going to fuck any of this stuff up. I'm going to insert all the fuses. Get them all in the right spot, hopefully. Things are always a little better when you get them in the right hole. Alright, so now the fuses are in there. I'm just going to go plop this thing down. Hook the battery up. Now with any luck, when I go to start it, we should see fuel pump prime, and then it should start and run. Here's the hoping. I can almost see fuel pump. Alright. so we got fuel pump prime. Houston, we have a problem. What the fuck? Oh, you know what? I think everything works, but I just made a huge mistake. That's bad that it was running and starting to run, because I just pissed a bunch of gas everywhere. So in all of my wisdom, I totally forgot that I had the injectors pulled out because I was checking for leaks, because I was losing fuel pressure overnight. So when I was cranking it, it's just dumping fucking gas everywhere. So that could have been bad. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we'll try it again. But it was trying to fire, so I'm pretty confident it'll run and everything's working right. But yeah, that was not really a good thing to forget about. Alright guys, so I'm going to try this again. I got everything cleaned up now. Yeah, I basically took the fuel rails out and put the towels of those paper and stuff underneath the injectors like 2 days ago, and I was watching the pressure over the last couple days and seeing what was leaking. I do have a injector back here that's actually leaking on the number 8 cylinder. So I did find that out. That's why I was losing pressure, but totally forgot after doing all this stuff that that was still out like that. So could have been bad, I guess, a learning lesson. So I'm going to try it again. We already know that it basically has pressure and stuff, and it was trying to fire, which means that there was still getting fuel into the cylinders through the paper. Yeah. So anyways, let's try this again, and hopefully it's better this time. So that felt a little bit better. So everything works. Everything works as planned, it seems like. So, unfortunately my tack doesn't work. I did hook the tack up, and it was questionable if it was going to, because the PCM didn't even have a tack wire in the harness actually. So, and my PCM didn't have like a tack output. I think you can program it to have a tack output through the same wire, because I had to add the wire to the harness. So I wasn't really sure if that was going to work or not, but I'm pretty sure I can get it programmed to work, and it should be okay. Other than that, shit, everything seems okay. Alright guys, so that's all good. We'll go as far as to say it's good for now. But check this out. So this is all the wiring that I pulled out of the harness. So this is everything that I pulled out before I reworked the harness, or while I was reworking the harness, everything that I pulled out. And then this was the stuff that I trimmed off and got rid of today. So overall, there's quite a bit of wire that actually came out of the harness, and kind of obsolete stuff you don't really need to make the standalone harness. There is a couple things that I do need to get working yet. Just found out the tack doesn't work, so that could either be the computer not sending a signal, or that the gauge isn't compatible with the signal that I have. And I'd like to get the coolant temp sensor working, but I need to get a different sending unit for it, and don't really have an oil pressure gauge right now. So those are the things that I'd like to work on before I get it driving and really start hammering on it. Other than that, everything's pretty much good how I'm going to have it. A couple more wires to shorten up yet, but then I'll start to throw the loom on it and everything. And I don't know, it's getting pretty close. Still waiting on O2 sensors. Last I checked the tracking, they were in Germany, so that's a special. And I might go ahead and start pulling the exhaust out one of these days, maybe this weekend, and weld the bungs in there so everything's set up, so when I get the sensors I can just plug them in, screw them in, and then be good to go. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, send the video to some of your ancestors and tell them to enjoy it. Have a nice night.